or more, you have seen this haircut before. It has been referred to as the mohawk, the faux hawk, the undercut, the mullet, and today they marketing it as what? The Kelly cut. And all that is a name. At the end of the day, we are all artists. So if you find a cut and you put your spin into it, come rinse it out, baby. I need you to rinse it out real good and then go back. Okay. If you I lost my thought. Now, and being artist, if you can take any cut and put your own spin to it, and you can rename it. So basically, all she really did was take the cut and trademark the name. She trademarked the name, but she can't trademark the cut. You dig what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, y'all know that cut. Each and every one of y'all. If you got a license, you know that cut, you can do it in your sleep. But social media is so intimidating because it's a popularity contest. So I have seen so many stylists get on social media and they see all the pictures and they see all the likes and they start to doubt their skills. And to me, that's a problem because we know this stuff inside and out. So what I'm gonna show you guys the cut, but my objective today is to ensure that you know tools, techniques, terms. If you have that stuff down, which, like I said, everybody's been to beauty school, you already know it. But if you have that stuff down, you can achieve any cut. All right? A lot of it is confidence as well. So I'm apologize to you guys because I know you guys were expecting to see that particular cut on a live model. I had a difficult time getting somebody that was in a position to receive that particular cut, so to speak. So what I'm going to do for you guys as a bonus to kind of make up for you not seeing that cut on a live model is I'm going to give you the faux hawk on a mannequin, and then I'm going to follow up and give you a pixie on a live model. So you guys are going to get 2 for the price of 1 today, okay? And like I said, I'm going to show you the cut, but my main objective is to make sure that you understand different techniques and how to use your different tools so that when you go back and you do these cuts, you can put your spin on it and you can rename it. So now, what's your name, sir?
Terrell.
Terrell. So Terrell, when you go back to the shop and you decide that you want to do the pixie cut, and then you do that one extra technique that I taught you, now it's the Terrell cut. You market it, you hashtag it, you flood their timeline with it, do the next big thing. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay? How many of you guys are cutters? Okay, you guys all, okay. So how many of you have done mohawks? Okay, so once again, y'all know this cut. So let me ask you this before we even get into it. If you know that and you do that, what made you come to the class today? What made you say, let me go see this cut? This education. So basically you guys are trying to see if I'm doing something different from what you're doing. Not at all? Okay, I'm just trying to get a feel for you guys so I can know exactly what I need to cover. Refreshers? Okay, okay. I am going to say this. I do believe, too, because we're artists, every stylist has their own signature. Right. It is something that you do to each and every client that no matter where they are, somebody that knows your work can spot it a mile away. That's who we are as artists. So to me, sometimes it's insulting, but you still want it when the client comes with all these pictures. You want the pictures to be able to get some direction, but at the same time, it's like, I'm an artist. That's like you come into Picasso and telling Picasso you want him to do Van Gogh's work. Let's go to Van Gogh. But if you trust me and you respect me, you'll let me do what it is that I do. And if you allow me the artistry freedom to go ahead and just get in there and do what I do, you'll get a way better result. So that's another thing, being in control of your chair, okay? I'm watching these new girls come in, and when I tell you they make me nervous, they make my skin crawl, because they don't have any control. They got a lot of cocky, but they don't have any control, and they don't have any professionalism. And we all know, too, when you have that professionalism, you get that respect. Once you get that respect behind that chair, the client's going to let you do whatever it is you do. On on top of that, we're going to go one step further and say, from there we should be retail. Because if they respect you, they listen to you. If they listen to you, they want to stay with you. If they want to stay with you, they trying to do whatever it is you say do. So if you say, for you to be able to maintain at home, I need you to get this.
Right.
And it ain't even using those exact words. I just sent a client home just the other day, $100 worth of retail product. I didn't even pitch the sale to her. What I did was I educated her. Okay? Through her whole, let me back up a little bit. Consultation, consultation, consultation. We know it. We got out of the habit of doing it because we're trying to get them in and out. Trying to get them in and out. It's the worst thing you could ever do. Consultations are the most important part of the service. All right? I personally, I don't do text messages. Don't call me. Don't send me pictures. If you can't do it to your doctor, don't you do it to me. I need you to book for a consultation. I need you to come in. I need to touch it. I need to see it. We need to have a discussion. I need to know what your goal is. And we're going to talk about how I can help you reach that goal. Okay? All those things are important. So once you get that under control and understand how all of it marries, the cut is the least part of it. But because you're an artist, and I'm looking at y'all, I already know you got it. That's just the icing on the cake. They done already fell in love with you because you talked to them. They already trust you because you educated them. Now you didn't do nothing but dazzle them because you cut the mess out their hair. And once again, I'm not going to show y'all nothing that you don't already know. All right? You want to start this out? Okay. So, good morning to the people that just walked in. Once again, my name is Monika. And we are doing the faux hawk today. The faux hawk, the mohawk, the undercut, the Kelly cut, the mullet, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. Alright? So before I really get into this though, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get her molded under the dryer. Before, do anybody have any questions for me before we really get into the meat and potatoes of what's happening in here today? Come on, I'm going to need y'all to work with me this morning. Wake up, who ain't had no coffee? Get your coffee, get your water. Hell yeah. Y'all got me in here on my own day. Y'all better get some energy up in here.
We were present though.
And I appreciate it. I'm glad to see you ladies in the house today. So yeah, one more time too, we're gonna do that cut. And then as a bonus, because I wasn't able to give you that particular cut on a live model, I'm gonna back it up and I'm gonna give you a pixie cut on a live model today, so you're gonna get 2 for 1. I guess while we doing all that, we can talk a little bit about the products. Like I say, y'all kind of caught me off guard. I was a little late because I got lost this morning. So what I did to my live model is she needed a relaxer, okay? And I had the young lady ask me what relaxer was I using, and I was using the Naked Patrick Bradley line. And I was using that because it is formulated for color treated hair. So I had her come in for a consultation to even consider her to be the model. And what she told me is, she's like, oh yeah, I done bleached it and she did all kinds of stuff to it. So just to kind of protect that hair strand, I chose the Patrick Bradley line because it's formulated for color treated hair. I do use it in the salon as well, so I know how well it works. Okay? She all set? And then what we did behind that, how many of you ladies and gentlemen use the KMB system? Very good. So you guys use the straightening system, the conditioning system, or you just use the salon part?
All of it.
All of it. How you like it?
Love it.
Love it? Okay, so then you got... So behind her relaxer, after taking all the water out, we went in, gave her a couple pumps of the conditioning treatment, okay? Because she also has some extremely dry, and like I said, from the consultation that I had with her, she kind of been beating her hair strands up a little bit. And then we know that this works as a cortex level, right? So it's going to go in and it's going to be almost like an instant reconstructor. So it's going to rebuild that hair shaft. Okay.
What's it
When she
called?
comes out, this is the KMB amino acid reconstructor. Okay. It's an entire system, but as a treatment, I'm just using this. Okay. And I'll let y'all feel it. I didn't mean to do that. I'll let y'all feel it when she comes from up under the dryer. There's no product on here.
No, that's right.
Y'all better quit playing with me.
Mo, her hair is really shiny from the relaxer.
Yeah. Like I said, I like the naked in general. That's just a personal preference. But I definitely like the Patrick Bradley color treatment for that color treated hair. So I'm not as worried about her hair strands melting or popping off. And you can feel the difference. I wish I would have been able, I should have let y'all feel it
So
before.
was that his relaxer or that was naked relaxer?
It's he's part of the naked line. It's under the naked umbrella.
Okay.
So what I'm wrapping her with right now is the Nutris wrap lotion. Okay? Any of you guys use that? You like it? I'm gonna have to be honest with y'all and say I'm a Roby fan.
Use that too. Different clients.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
depends. It
different,
depends
yeah,
on what I'm doing. In their hair texture, what I'm trying to achieve. I do use both, but being super transparent, I'm probably gonna always go to the Nairobi.
So at what point are you gonna put the reconstructor on there?
We did it behind. We neutralized her with 3 shampoos. Okay. After that 3rd rinse, we towel block the water out of her hair, and then we use approximately 2 pumps. Saturate, massage it through the hair, pump it through, let her sit for about 5 minutes, and then rinse it out. Then went back in with the KMB moisturizer conditioner. So, for the most part, I said we're going to give her a pixie, so I'm just giving her a general mold. Make a basic mold. Sit her under the dryer. We're going to kind of go over tools real quick, tools and techniques, and then we're going to begin our manicure. So you always mold before you cut? It depends. It depends on what I'm doing. I prefer to cut on dry hair just because, number one, I use so many different tools when I'm cutting that it allows me to see better. As opposed to when it's wet and the hairs kind of stick together, you have to really be careful. And also sometimes it can be deceiving because I still like to leave a lot of texture in the hair when I give a relaxer. And with that, if it has any texture to it, it's still kind of deceiving and you can accidentally cut too much because you have that texture in there. As opposed to when it's molded and it's straight, I can get a more accurate and detailed cut. And especially with what I'm getting ready to show you today, so I'm going to be going in shears, finish shears, clippers, and razors. So I can definitely want her straight so you guys can see all of that. Any other questions right now? Nothing? Nobody? It's like this thing. Y'all better get it out. Don't let me get to rolling and y'all trying to interrupt my flow and my thoughts. You got 1,000 questions?
And I'm just pissed off there.
Why? Who
Because
pissed you
it's
off
not
this
the
morning?
way it used to be.
But at the end of the day, check this, you can't be mad at it. You got to stay in your lane and you got to reach out to the babies that's pissing you off and you got to train them up. Train up a child. Reach one, teach one. You can't get mad at them because they don't know. They think they know, but they don't know. Period. I'm going to tell you, I love the little cocky ones too. Come in the shop, they think they know everything. I've been doing my sister here, my mama here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, baby, your mama ain't in here. Let me show you how this looks like. Alright? Shut them down, I promise you, you'll get a whole different level of respect. I'm gonna let y'all tell me what y'all when we get there. You gotta let, okay. Did I hit you? You want the Lord? Okay. Now, let's get into this cutting. The one thing that allows me to be standing in front of you guys today is the fact that cutting is my passion. I am a cosmetologist. I am not a beautician. So I have been educated in all realms here. Alright? However, because I love to cut like I love to cut, I made sure to continue my education in cutting. I got my original license from W Chicago campus. When I decided that I wanted my field of expertise to be cutting, I went to the University in South Carolina and entered into the Master Cosmetology Cutting program. So I am actually a master cutter. Okay? That's what allows me to stand in front of you guys today and share the information that I have. One of the biggest things that I feel is important when cutting is always going to be your tools. Okay? I have worked with some stylists, Lord Jesus, that will cut with anything. And that is one of the worst things that you can do when you're trying to be a precision cutter. Okay? We all know different shears, different things, and those of us who are really passionate about cutting, we got way too many pairs of shears. Okay? But for us, like I said, each shear does something different. I have about 20 pairs, but they each do something different to me, depending on what I'm trying to achieve. Okay? That's the first thing. We also know too, in a salon setting, everybody is watching you. Okay? God, I have always made sure my chair is by the dryers, because I know your client, and your client, they watching me work. So I get a little show, you know, all in your stance, all in your it's a whole show, all right? But what happens is, even though they are going to, they're going back and telling their girl, man, I saw this girl in the shop. You should have seen her. She was cut backwards. When I tell y'all it's a show, it's a show. Okay? And I can't help it. That's the worst part. I cannot help it. So, one of the things that I get, one of the questions I get a lot is, what type of steel do I purchase or do I look for when I go shopping? There's 3 different kinds. You see, I'm a little off today, but my favorite is going to be the cobalt steel. Okay? And it gives me an extra sharp edge. It's almost, the cobalt steel is a Japanese steel, so it's in comparison to like swords. I forget what you call them swords today, that are just like super, super sharp. They cut paper up in the air. So knowing their steel makes a difference when you go shopping. Okay, when you go to these shows, they got the lights, they got the cases. We go for what's pretty, but you need to know the price of my shears. My shears range from $1,200 to $500. Okay. Matter of fact, my favorite shears are my Hanzos. These are $1,200. Okay. And one of the best things about them too is I do not allow the sharpening man to come into the shop and touch my cutting implements. Hands-Off has a program where they will give you a replacement shear to work, and they'll take your shears and they sharpen them for you. They sharpen them, they oil them up, they make sure that your investment is protected. Okay? They will also, they have like a training program too. So if you have a cheaper shear from somebody else, you can give that to them and they'll take that money and put it towards a new pair of shears. Okay? Love my Hands-Offs. And I love them just because of the way they feel in my hand. Okay? I'm also more partial to a 6-inch blade. Okay? How many of y'all know the size of the blade makes a difference depending on what you're doing? Okay? So I typically go for the longer blades just because it's some comfort for me. But if I'm getting in real close on shorter hair and say I'm doing a point cut on shorter hair, then I may go down to a 5-inch. Okay? The other thing too is your tension screws. It's always good to get a shear that has a tension screw. Okay? Because the tension is important. If the tension is off in your shears, what it can do is cause that blade of hair to bend. If the blade of hair bends, then it can affect your entire cut. It will definitely affect how the hair lays. Okay? So when you're using your tension screws, okay, the way to test it and make sure that it's in the proper place is to pull that ring there up and let it fall. And your shear, your cutting blade, should be at a 45. Okay? If it falls too fast, it's too loose. If it doesn't fall at all, it's too tight. But when it falls, it should fall at a 45. Okay? I also need you ladies to be mindful. Once again, these are investments. So you should be cleaning your shears every evening when you're done working, just like you clean your clippers. Okay? They all come with I don't have it on the table. They come with like a cloth. The cloth also kind of keeps the blade sharp as well as removing the hair magnetically. Okay? That's real important. They come with the screw and they come with oil. The oils are important too. If you do a lot of hair cutting, your shears should be oiled on a regular basis, at least once a week. Okay? You want to make sure you're maintaining your cutting. So like I said, my favorite is going to be my Hands-Offs. My second go-to is going to be my Damascus. Okay, Damascus, it's a heavier steel. These are, I think, a 5.5. No, these are 5 3/4. Okay, but it's a heavier steel, but it's an extremely sharp blade. Almost as sharp as the cobalt steel. Okay, but I like these because I like a heavier steel as well. I like a heavier shear in my wrist. So you also have to know that in your comfort as well. Some people cut better with lighter shear. To me, I could be dangerous with a feather-like shear because I move pretty fast. So you just gotta kind of feel it out. Because I'll do classes and I'll have people say, what do you use? And they want to use what I use. But if it don't fit for you, if it's not a comfort for what you're doing, then you shouldn't buy it. So you always want to kind of test drive your shears when you at these hair shows. Okay? The other thing too is how you hold them. I see a lot of people sticking their whole fingers through these finger guards all the way up to the knuckles. That's wrong. It's going to affect your entire cut. Okay? Your ring finger should really kind of just be right before the knuckle, right past the nail bed. Your thumb should barely be in there. That gives you more control and more movement. Okay? And the only thing that should be moving is the moving blade, which is your thumb. Alright? That makes sense to y'all? Then you have your thinnest shears. Same thing, the blades come in different lengths, and the teeth come spaced different. And though I know you guys know the spacing of the teeth means something different on each thinning shear. So just saying that it's a thinning shear scares a lot of black stylists. it scares a lot of clients. But what you have to think of it is more texture than thinning. So if you're doing a cut, and that's why I'm saying it's important to know tools and techniques. So if you understand that what you want is texture, then you'll know that, hey, I want a lot of texture, so I want bigger spaces in my texturizing shears because that's the effect that I'm going for. And I want to cut over here because we all know vertical lines, when you cut out on a vertical line, we're doing what? We're removing weight. So if you got a vertical line and you go in, and you go in with a texturizing shear, you taking that weight out and you basically just giving it a softer look. Okay? So I do use them. It just, like I said, it depends on what I'm doing. So I use all my shears. Another one of my favorite, all-time favorites, the razor. Okay? And I got all kinds. I got the finger razor, the electric razor. I just go razor crazy. And you'll get a lot of people that say they don't advise cutting hair dry with a razor. And I'm gonna say this. You ain't heard it from me, but you can cut dry hair with a razor. But once again, it's a preference. I like to cut it on dry hair. And it depends on what you're doing. So a lot of times, and I specialize in short hair. So like if I'm cutting, especially like somebody like me, and what I want to do is I want to take it in real close, but I want to still keep it nice and dark. So basically all I'm doing is what? Taking out the weight. I'll go in with this razor on this dry hair and take that weight out. So even like what you mentioned, being able to get the fringe, it's going to help you get that texture around. Because some clients don't like clean lines. Right now today, everybody thinks they want the fringe around the neck. We'll talk about that a little later. But they think they want it, but that'll help you achieve it. It's just one technique. You can get that same look using 4 different tools. But this is just, like I said, it's going to depend on comfort, and it's going to depend on what you're doing. And back to the whole showing off thing, the more people in the shop, the more tools I use. Y'all laughing, it's so real. I'm going to stay off subject a little bit. When I was in Chicago, I worked in a salon inside the beauty supply store. Man, I made the best money. The best money. I was in the hood. I was in the beauty supply store in the shop. And I had just got my master cut certification. So they would come in the beauty supply store and they shop. We had big windows too. And they walk past when I see them watching out. Man, when I tell you showing off. So then they be in the window like, come on in. Come on in. So it's all for show. And a lot of that too just comes from platform. That's what makes me show. That I need to be able to get y'all attention. So that's where it comes from. And now it's just, girl, I'm in the house cutting paper like that. So, back to the cutting implements. How many of you guys clipper cut? Very good. What about barbering? Cool. So, my favorite go-to is wall. I used to be an Andis girl, and I found out that they got hot really fast. And so I went to one of the shows. I've always worked with a lot of barbers too, so talk to them. And wall does very good, giving you the time to do what it is you do without heating up. Okay? And they cut very well too, and they also have a lot of cordless things as well. And then once again, you want to know your blades. I also do graphics. Okay? So for graphics, we're going to go into knowing your blades. So you have your T-blades, and that just means that the blade extends past the base. And then you just have your basic trimmer blade, okay? And for me, because I know I'm going in and I'm doing different designs, I prefer the T-blade. Same thing with your clippers. If you clipper cut, I know some of you may use guards. I don't typically use a guard because I'm a cutter. I use the same foundation for everything, meaning me personally, I cut using either finger elevation or degrees. Do I have anybody in here that went to Empire? Okay, good. Because Empire, it was brought to my attention that Empire teaches on a whole nother dynamic. They teach negative, positive, whatever that is. But I'm old school, and we was Milady, and Milady is the Bible. I still refer back to my Milady when I need to. That's another thing that I think we all need to know, that no matter what's going on in the industry, you can never go wrong with your foundation. Sometimes we do need to take a step back from the chair, look it up, because it's all repeating itself. Once again, we artists. Go back to it, look it up, and do what you know. We get in the shop, we get next to Shaquan, and she got all these bad habits, and you trying to keep up with her. And now you got her bad habits, but you know better. You know better. So anyway, because I cut like that, I don't typically use a guard. So that's what I forgot. Can I get a barbering comb? You guys got a barbering comb? So even when I'm barbering, I know that when my clipper is closed all the way, it says 0. Okay? 0 in the clipper world is touching the skin. It's at the neck. 0 when you're doing finger elevation is on the neck. 0 when you're doing degrees is on the neck. Okay? So once you understand that, that's what I mean by knowing your tools, techniques, and terms. Okay? And it's all the same thing. When I'm taking weight out, I'm still cutting in a vertical. It's the smart. Yeah, with real pointy at the end. Okay, got it. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Hey, I can get that. And then the other thing is, from barbering to precision cutting, a lot of it is going to be removing lines of demarcation. Y'all heard of that before too. All the terms, they marry, okay? And it's all the same thing. So it's just about knowing your terms too. So then you have people, that whole Kelly cut, full hog, all of that. We're looking at disconnection, okay? Everybody knows a disconnected cut, all right? Then we know texture. So these are not terms that you guys don't know. These are not things that you guys don't understand. So all I'm saying is we know this cut. So with all of that, I think I covered all my tools. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to go ahead and get into this cut because we got a lot to kind of cover. So basically, once again, if you've ever cut a mullet, and I like to say all of y'all got more than 10 years, so I know you have. If you've ever cut a mohawk, you've ever done an undercut, I'm not getting ready to really show you nothing different, but I am going to show you different ways and how to use the different tools to get the same effect. Or I might just give you some information that'll make you go back to the salon and do something different to that cut. And so then when you post it, it look like something different. So I always tell my clients too that I can do the same cut all day, 10 different people, and it's going to look different on each and every person. Because it irritates them when they come in and they bring up Instagram and they got all these pictures. And you're like, it's the same cut. It's the same cut. They say, no, but it looks different. No, it's the same cut. She just has a different texture of hair. She's got different features. She's got a different length. All those things play a part in what we're doing. Also, too, if you've ever done that whole waves on the side, curls in the middle, look how many of you guys do that in the shop. It's the same cut. The only thing is, I ain't gonna tell a secret, but the biggest thing is that particular cut kind of grew out the original cut, and she polished it. That's all it was. Cause I don't know how many of y'all, but I know it's nothing for me to do a cut and that's just growing out. And it's like, I'm gonna do something different. Shampoo them up, mold them up, and when you come, you be like, girl, you ain't even did nothing. But I bet I can charge her more because she think I did. But it had to do with her original cut was good. So as it grew out, it grew into something better. And we changed her without changing her. Okay. So the other thing about cutting is placement, parties, okay? So we all know about this triangular area, correct? Because it even plays a part with what? When you arch your eyebrows. The arch of the eyebrow, the tip of the nose, the temples, the hairline, the crown, ear to ear, hairline to neck. Even though cutting is my thing, I still cut in sections. Sections give you control. That's all it does. So you'll get these newbies that come in and they looking at you because they don't see you freehand. It don't mean that you can't. It just means I know what I'm looking for and I'm being accurate. That's all it means. It's just giving you that control. The longer the hair, the more control you have, the more precise the cut. Can we eye it? I'm sure every single one of us can. Do we eye? Depending on what kind of movie. And if I like cut, I'm just kidding. Okay, no, for real. So basically, and I hate working on that. So what I'm getting ready to do to begin this cut, we're gonna part her almost as if we're doing a mohawk. So I'm gonna go temple to temple, and I'm gonna part from the temple, and I'm gonna go almost at a V down to the nape of the neck. The key in parting this too would be zigzag partings. Who knows why I would be doing zigzag partings? Okay, the zigzag partings is gonna give it softness. Okay? Once again, knowing your lines, vertical lines and horizontal lines and what they do. What gives softness, what gives bluntness or hardness. So if I was to just give her straight lines through, it kind of hardens the cut a little bit. Even though we are not blending it completely, it's disconnected, we still want it to flow and we want it to give a real soft appearance. Okay? And that's what those zigzag partings do. And you always want to be careful too. What I see a lot of stylists do is when they're coming around that occipital and knowing that you have to come around and you can't just straight it through because the curve of the head affects the cut. Because I've seen some where they're extremely flat and that client has a flat occipital. But you definitely need to know how the hair should fall on a protruding occipital as opposed to a flat occipital. And all that, once again, is going to be what? Your partings. I'm going to try parting her off in about 4 sections. I'm sorry, my hesitation was, it's easier to cut a mannequin if she's wet, but I don't really want to wet her down because that's going to turn into something else. So we'll get that wrong. So while I'm parting her, does anybody have any questions for me right now? Anything?
The stylist that uses, is it an app? Is it something you have to pay for monthly, yearly?
The what? Oh, Style C?
Style C?
Yeah, they used to be free, but then it got popular.
How do you spell it?
Style
Okay, style.
Seat. One word. And currently, I think it's $35 a month. Is that right? Anybody else use Style Seat?
It's an app that you just download.
It's an app, and you can do regular online. But it allows you, it cuts a lot out for me. Like I said, it's my automatic front desk. So even it gives my clients appointment reminders of if I want to, I can send them out something for their birthday. When it's time, if I haven't seen them, hey, we haven't seen you in a while, it's time to book an appointment. And it allows me to see everything that's happening on my book. If you book, if you cancel, if you reschedule, I see it. Okay? It also allows me to implement late charges, no show, no calls. You put down a deposit or you gotta have a credit card to book with me. It gives me that much control. That's why I love it. And the other thing is too, they generate reports. So every week, every day, I know what my numbers are projected to be at the end of the year, when I sit down with my accountant, I have a 1099 generated from Style School. So it helps me keep more accurate records because, you know, we too, just because we're self-employed doesn't mean we don't want to buy houses and cars too. But you got to have that paper trail in order to pull it off. Okay. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to show you guys this. And because it's a mannequin, it's going to be real generic. So I'm not going to be able to get like a precise. But I want to make sure you guys have the general idea of what we're trying to accomplish here, okay? Because I swear part of the mannequin is the worst. Any other questions? How many of you guys cut face in the mirror? With your client face in the mirror? Very good. Why don't the rest of you? I'm curious to know why. Okay, let me tell you why you should be cutting your client facing the mirror. It's a good thing. I know that for the longest we were taught, we were conditioned to keep the client away from the mirror because they're trying to see. That goes back to what I discussed earlier as far as controlling the chair. It helps you out. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It's about you. It gives you that objective view. It helps you balance your cut. Okay? I've had stylists come to me and say, man, I did that cut, but one side is always longer than the other. It's got a lot to do with how you stand. It's got a lot to do with how you holding that hair, and it's got a lot to do with the fact that you're not in front of that mirror. Okay? It makes all the difference. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a barber when they cut and they'll stand back and they'll look at the back of that fade in the mirror just because the mirror gives them an objective view. Okay? It makes a difference. Alright, so basically what I did, like I said, I went from the temples. Okay, that lets me know that I should be even on both sides. However, we also know that everybody, I got alarms going on, tell me. Y'all left, y'all know we'll work all day and won't eat. But we all know that everybody's kind of off a little bit. One eye is up higher than the other, you know. But that's another reason why you're cutting in the mirror, to give you that view so that even if one side is higher, you can still balance it out and get an even party. And then we're coming back around the occipital and almost bringing it, depending on how wide you want that back to be. If you guys have followed on Instagram that whole Kelly Cut Challenge, you'll see the different variations of the tail. Some like it with a real skinny tail, some want it wider. That is going to be up to you how you part it. And as far as parting concerned, we know that a lot of people have their hairlines, their nape hairline is different. Some have wider, some have smaller. So that's going to be a judgment call on you, and it's also going to determine how the back of that hair moves. Okay? But once again, that goes back to your consultation too. Does your client want just a tail, or does she want to keep the length and have a fuller look in the back? I sure can. I'm sorry. Look, she's so disrespectful. She heard you and she was like, no. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so I gave her a skinnier one just because she doesn't have much of a nape line back here. So it didn't give me a whole lot to work with. Alright? So that's why I did that. Other than that, no real particular reason except that's how I was feeling. Now as far as cutting down the sides, depending on our talk in her consultation will determine what I do to the sides. Meaning, if she's saying to me she wants that whole full fringed out look, that means I'm going to leave some hair there. I have some that are like, take it in real close and then give me some graphics in the back. I have some that may say, you have the ones too that have sparse to no edges, and then they're full back here and it's a whole nother texture, and they're like, but I want clean lines back here. So just knowing what your client desires. So what I'm gonna ask you ladies and gentlemen right now is, well, how would you want me to cut this? This is our consultation. What do you want to see me do on the side? So we'll do one thing on this side and then we'll do the other one on the other side. No suggestions? Cut it close or the fringe? Fringe on one side, close on the other? Okay. Thank y'all for participating. Teamwork make the dream work. I can't say that enough. Alright. I like her. Fight. Alright, I'm just gonna have to wing it. Okay, so the first thing I would do is just take the length out. Alright, which could be anything. I could go in and just notch it, or I could cut it. I just want to take that length out so I don't have to work as hard. Okay? Alright. So on the fringe, in the front, the first thing, let's say she had sparse to no edges in the front. So the biggest key is we're selling illusions, and we want to be able to keep that part covered. Remembering too that vertical lines take out weight. Horizontal lines give bluntness. Okay? The other thing is cutting straight is going to give me bluntness. Point cutting is going to give me texture and softness. So you also need to know at that point too, what type of hair does she have? Is it fine? If it's really fine, you really want to give her texture. And you want to give her texture because that's going to give the illusion of fullness. That makes sense? Okay, so once again, even parting here, well, let me back up a little bit. Had this been on a live person, how I would have attacked this is I would have parted her out first, and I would have took out all this length on the side, and then I'd have molded her down because I need them sides to lay as flat as possible. Okay. Upon coming out of the dryer, I may go in and just fringe around and give her a little shape. All right. And if she has sparse to no edges, the first thing we're gonna do is zigzag partings. Okay, those partings are still real important because we want to keep it soft. But we're going to give her zigzag partings, and then we would comb, because she would still be molded, she would be straight, which gives us a little more control as far as where we want that hair to lay. So we're able to push it forward at that particular time. Still zigzag partings. Okay. Now, from here, we would over-direct this hair. Alright? The reason, who knows why we would over-direct the hair? Yes, we are over-directing the hair because we want the hairs behind it to be shorter than what's in front of it. And we want that because we want the shorter hairs to push the longer hairs forward. That's what's going to help her have that coverage. Alright? Instead of me just cutting it straight up, giving her a straight, blunt, vertical cut, then all it's going to do is just fall. And you'll be able to see the lines of the demarcation. We don't want that. We want texture and we want softness. So with that, we would take this hair. Also, how you're standing makes a difference too. So because I'm over directing, I really want to be behind it, but not directly behind it. That makes sense? So because I kind of want to do a diagonal, because I'm cutting this angle here, I want to be almost 45 from it. That makes sense? Okay. You guys, please let me know if I'm doing too much or I'm throwing you off, because I want to make sure everybody gets it. Okay? So, once again, I take that hair, I'm standing at that angle, and I'm over directing. And then I am going to point cut. I'm point cutting because I want to give her texture. Okay? That is the main objective, the only objective. We're over directing to give her coverage, and we're point cutting to give her texture. Okay? So I would do the same thing from hairline to top of ear. Okay? That's why knowing your points of the head are vital. Everybody following me okay so far?
Yes.
Am I giving y'all anything that you think you might could use? I know I'm not giving you nothing new. This is stuff you guys know. I may be reinforcing it and reminding you, but I want to make sure that I'm helping you. Because sometimes too, just knowing that one extra trick will actually save you a little more time cutting as well. Okay? If you know that if you do this, the hair is going to move like that, then when you go back in and check it, and I still check all my cuts. When you go back in and check it, you know what you should see, and it shouldn't be a problem. That hair is just going to fall. And you also know, too, at that point, if you run your fingers through it, if they run their fingers through it, they hot. You ain't putting out one curl to it. When they come from up under the dryer, you should be able to. I tell my clients all the time, Becky, them should not be the only ones who get up and go. It's all about the cut. Cut is the foundation. You got a good cut, you can pull off anything. Alright. Okay. That's a little better. I'm sorry, guys. Alright. Also, everybody cutting with cutting combs, right? If y'all ain't cut with cutting combs, y'all better make sure y'all get some before you leave. It makes all the difference. I posted a video one day, and I was using this comb. And I had this guy comment under my picture. He was like, aha, we all be using combs with no teeth, with broken teeth. Boy, what you saying? This is a cutting comb. This was made like that. I was like, that's for parting purposes. He was proud with it too. He was like, yeah, that's how I cut with a comb. No, sir. Sorry. But no. Okay, so like I said, from here to top of ear, I would pretty much do the same thing. Is I would part that hair off, and I would over direct it, point cut it out, so that when I comb it, it's pushing forward, and she doesn't have to worry about her sparse edges being exposed. So you also too, when they're asking about how to take care of this cut at home, how to wrap it, you want to make sure you're clear with them to say you're brushing forward. Don't brush straight down, okay? Kind of follow the cut, all right? So when we get behind the ear, then I can just go to a vertical. I can just cut it out. Because at this point, we just kind of really remove the weight, all right? Now, when we get all the way behind the ear, where the hair, when the head starts to curve and the hairline starts to taper in, we're gonna go back to over directing. This is what gives you that fringe, okay? So you still gonna part that hair. You should be able to part that hair, over direct it, point cut it out, okay? Same concept. It's making the shorter hairs push the longer hairs. So even when if you were to cut it prior to molding it, when you mold it, you're gonna mold it in the direction that you want it to go. That makes sense? So you're doing that all the way up until you get to your part in here, okay, where you stop. where that's part of the tail, part of the hairstyle. So it also, if they want it close or not, how close do they want it? How full? Do they want you to curl it? Are they getting a relaxer? Do they have wavy textured hair, or is that hair bone straight? Do they have any sparse areas in there? All of that plays a part, and that's when you need to know your degrees. The longer they want it here, the further out or the further up you're going to pull it. All right? So if they have a little length here and they still want to keep the length, but they want it to hug out on the sides, you're going to pull it up. That retains the length, and then you're going to pull it over. That's going to give you the fringe. That makes sense? Did I lose anybody? Okay. I really wish I could show that to you guys. I could kind of show you, but she ain't even got no back hairline back here.
I was about to say, I got the similar cut, but I don't have that much hair growing out either, so I was about to say, I would learn if you're doing it on mine. But if you want to show everybody, you could kind of use me as a guide if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. Come on over, let's see what we can do.
You want me to video you?
Sure. Thank you.
On your phone?
I don't know how to know what that is.
Okay, cool. I appreciate this. Cause what we'll do. Who cut your hair?
Me.
Woo, why you do that?
I mean, it's growing out. It used to be a mohawk.
It used to be a mohawk, so you see you growing into that.
Right.
So basically what I was saying earlier, y'all see that? That what I said earlier, mohawk, faux hawk, undercut, Kelly cut, it's all the same thing. And she said she had a mohawk, and the mohawk is growing out. And what is it turned into? The Kelly cut. So a lot of times when we're growing out our clients, it turns into something else. And at that particular point, you really just polish it and putting an extra spin on it and selling it. Marketing, marketing, marketing.
That's why I try to sit in the back, because I know that.
What happened?
I guess it was my hair that way. Somebody, that's why I asked.
I love your hair. Cause honey, if I had a good, I sure be running around here like, walking in the room, your hair walking. That's hairstylist, honey, cause we selling an image all day long. I'm coming in head first. It's like and then make them say, "What she do? Who is that?"
All the time.
Oh wow, I love the texture too. All right. Perfect. Now I am gonna say this too, and when we do those zigzag parties on the side, they don't have to be like real serious zigzag parties, because we're not selling the party, we're just making it softer. Okay?
Was I the only person not doing the zigzag part? Okay.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I must say, I learned the whole zigzag parting. You know, that was part of that foundation too. So when I was telling you guys about how I went to the university and got my master cut, it was an intense boot camp. So it was like the first level, level 1, it was 7 straight days, 15 hours, nothing but cutting. And we stayed in the dorm, the whole 9 yards.
Where was that?
Dudley University, Greensboro. I don't even think they do it no more.
No, they're closed. They still have some classes though. It's not Dudley. It's another lady that's doing classes like that.
Yeah, back in the day too, if you so much as mentioned Dudley, it was instant respect.
Exactly.
Instant. I still get some people today when they hear, let me take that earring down. Yeah, when they hear that I went to Dudley, really? Yeah.
My daughter went
Look,
to that.
I cherish
They just
the
didn't give
education.
y'all no respect after at all.
Yeah, my Dudley alumni.
Yeah, they made the newspaper and everything but.
All right. So even still, you wear waves a lot. All right. So let me turn her. Can everybody see her? Okay. Am I in your way? If you need to come over here, you can come over here. So the first thing I would do, I kind of like to frame the face. So because she has this hair here, and for the purposes of you guys, I'm going to kind of cut behind. But normally, please don't ever be afraid to get in their personal space.
ma'am. I'm live streaming.
All right, because some people, I've seen some stylists that are uncomfortable with that. Get in their personal space and do what you got to do.
Right.
You know, if you need a mint though, take a mint. I need a mint. Anyway, but I'm going to cut from behind so that you guys can see. So basically, I'm just kind of framing her face a little bit. And if you guys are paying attention to my shears, you see the only blade that's moving is my movable blade. And you also see I'm only cutting with my nail file, not my whole doggone finger. It makes a difference. Can everybody see?
I will. Oh, I was talking about the lady. Mom. I'm gonna get her. Okay.
So all that did was give her a little bit of texture. Just that, those few little nips in there. That's all I did was give her a little bit of texture and a little bit of shape. Because before it was just all pushed out. Y'all see the difference, right? Okay. So, coming in, still the zigzag parting. Taking that first section, over directing, coming in, point cutting it out. And all that's doing, number one, is giving me texture. Number two, giving me that push forward effect. You guys see the difference? Okay? So, using the same techniques all the way to top of ear. Pulling it back, point cutting it out. Brushing it forward, or even brushing it down. And it's just giving her texture. Okay. Top of ear, the very top of the ear. Depending on how I'm feeling, I may still notch it out, and I may just blunt cut it. Either way, right here, the hair is just laying on top of the ear. Okay? So when we get down to this part though, this is that tricky part that everybody asks about. And like I said, depending on what your client wants to achieve. Parting it out, over directing, point cut. Now, I know we've all been taught to don't go past that second knuckle. So, do as I say, not as I do. So even when I did just that little bit, it gave her that hug. You guys see the difference? All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Pulling it up and out because she wants a little bit of fringe at the bottom. Over directing. Point cutting it out. Coming it back down. So I don't know if you might want to, because her hair is dark, you guys might want to, if you want, you can come up close and see, so you can see what she has a little texture in here. Can you guys see that? Oh, sorry. See that? So even when we mold her, we can give the illusion that if she wants to wear it flat, she can wear it flat. Or if you want to come in and put a little bit of bump in it just to show off the texture. Or if you're waving all of it. Alright? You can also come back in with what I told you guys was my favorite tool, and that's that razor. Alright? With the razor, I can come in, I can come around her front and give, let me come this way, I'm sorry. And we're going to give her hairline just a little bit texture. Just a little bit of texture instead of giving her clean lines. Y'all see that little bit of difference? Okay? So depending on the client too, you don't want to take too much out because they still want to have that versatility if they have edges to be able to come back in and wave it. Alright? So you want to make sure that it's close enough to the comfort of the client so they're not trying to do a lot of work for upkeep. But you also want to make sure they have some versatility. Because I'm going to say one thing I know for sure, for certain, is when we cut this hair, the client always wants versatility. They want to know they can do something without us. That's when you sell them products to them too. You want to do what I do at home? I need you to buy this, 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 and this. Do that, and you'll be fine. Okay? So, if she wanted it even closer to around here, I can still go in with my razor at an angle now. Make sure you're angling these razors. You don't want to go straight in too deep. Going in flat and down is going to take out way too much hair. So you want to angle that razor out. Be gentle. And just take some of that weight out. And what else that does is allows the hair to go in the direction you're telling it to go. You're getting a closer cut without taking out all her hair. Because you ever had that client that you went in and you cut, I didn't want it this close. I wanted it this close, but I wanted it to be dark. So that's that whole interpreting the client when they're talking to us in the consultation and showing us pictures. And that lady has wavy hair and she got some oomph.
Yes.
Y'all already know. So basically that's all I'm doing. Coming in, taking out a little more weight. So, let me show you a couple things about the fringe in the back before I go back there. Back to my shears. This would be another time too when I would use a longer blade. When you are fringing out the back, you can kind of go in and just slither out a little bit of hair. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. And slither out that hair. And it spaces it out a little bit more. Or you can come in with that razor and just kind of, with the point of the razor, take some of that out. But y'all see the difference? So what I'm trying to convey to you guys is your technique and understanding the parts of the head make all of the difference. That you can make this particular haircut do whatever you want it to do. So if she decided to, she wanted it close, I can go in with the clippers. But if I go in with the clippers, it's still understanding my degrees. Do she want to fade out at the bottom? Then I'm doing a 0. I'm going all the way in and taking that hair out. Okay? When I'm cutting this though, even though I'm cutting degrees, I'm still maybe, depending on what I'm doing, the same rules apply. If I'm just taking out the length, I'm going to go horizontal. If I'm trying to soften it, I'm going to go vertical. If I want to go close, I'm going to go in at 0. If I want the more I want out, take 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is your fingers. Fingers on the neck is 0. Alright, fingers on the neck is 0. 1 finger, 2 finger, 3. 0, 45, 90. Okay? Same thing here. 0, $45.90. Alright? You won't have to finish this up when you have to play.
I'm natural.
Oh,
I just relax this side.
alright. So even sometimes just cleaning up their neck, I may still use my razor. Lift that hair up, go in, get the hair out of there. Clean, soft. Alright? Okay, let me do the other side real quick. Same thing applies on the other side. For some though, it's a little awkward getting used to how you stand. Because remember what I was saying, when we're over directing, you should be at a certain area of that head. What my time looking like, guys? I tend to. Alright. Okay, we're gonna finish this up and then we're gonna go on to that bonus cut real quick. I think for the bonus cut, we probably just gonna cut through it. I'm not gonna get as detailed and technique. So I know you guys got stuff to do with that. Anybody have any questions so far? Am I giving you guys enough information to work with? Good. Y'all still like me? Alright. One more time, I'm going in and I am going to frame her around the face. This is also good for clients that want sideburns that don't have them. You know, we always get that client that's like, I want some sideburns, and I don't know why stylists cut it straight. Your hair don't even grow like that. You want to follow the way the hair grows. So the trick to that is the framing of the face. That's gonna help them get that sideburn. All right. So from temple, not even temple, but maybe arch of the eyebrow. Can you see that? So arch of the eyebrow, point cutting it out, and almost a round type of cut. You guys see that? So y'all saw before I cut her, she didn't have really a sideburn, it was all one length. But we just made her a sideburn. And as it grows out, if she wants to keep her sideburns as they get longer, you're gonna bring that hair up, correct? That's gonna save her length at the bottom. But other than that, it's the same concept. Zigzag parting, push it forward. Take your section, over direct it, and point it out.
That's your 6-inch hair, right?
Yes, ma'am. This is my 6-inch hand hose. My go-tos. Now, depending on how I'm standing, what I'm doing, I don't have no problem invading a personal space. I'm all up on you. Think we go together. But it depends on the stylist at this point. But just note that your stance is everything. All right? The concept is still the same. So even if I'm standing in front of her and I pull that part and I pull it up, I'm still going to over direct it and I'm going to go in and I'm going to point cut it. Okay? Because I know I've seen some stylists, if they're more, they aren't dexterous, meaning they can do left and right, then it throws them off cutting from opposite sides. So that's why I said you have to find your comfort, and sometimes you may even want to practice it on your mannequin a little while until you know what works for you before you get in front of that client and be kind of running back and forth because you can't feel your comfort zone. Because if you're not comfortable when you're cutting, it's going to throw the whole cut off. Even if I was doing it backwards. Same thing. And also too, I think a lot of stylists get comfortable cutting with their shears a certain type of way. You have to be able to know how to maneuver your shears, your body, to prevent carpal tunnel. Big mistake that a lot of stylists make when we're cutting from behind, we cutting like this. That's so wrong. That's instant carpal tunnel. You want to cut palm to palm. Palm to palm. Palm to palm. Even when you're not. That elbow, pay attention to it. Your body stance, pay attention to it. You'll feel it in your knees, you'll feel it in your back. If you're not used to doing it the first few times you do it, you're gonna hurt because your body's not used to it. Alright? But it makes a difference. Any more questions so far? Same thing, behind that ear, parting it, over directing it, point cutting it out. Over directing, point cutting it out. Brushing it forward. Coming in, slithering it down to give her the fringe. How many of you guys follow Razor Chick? Y'all ever see her do that? Whenever she has that hair tugging like this, and you'll always see her come in and do that. That's why she's doing that, to give it that fringe. She already molded it to hug, but now she's going in and she's just giving it that extra fringe, taking that weight out. Alright? And like I said, you can achieve that with the shear, or you can achieve it with the razor. Alright? Just coming in. See? Cleaning up under there. Lift that hair up. Giving it back. Alright? Alright. So even though it don't really look like we cut a lot of hair, we cut a lot of hair. And I still want this to kind of match this side. That's why you want to look in the mirror. You can still check it, pulling it out in the mirror. The sides should match. Going in with my razor. Softening her up. Taking out a little more weight. But I just want this part to lay. I don't necessarily want to curl it. You can, but you don't have to. That's going to depend on her. Alright? Y'all see that?
Yes, looks good.
Okay. So now we're going to go to the meat of this cut, which would be her crown. That's still going to be in sections. Depending on how long the back is or how long the back she wants the back to be will determine how many sections you do. So in her particular case, I can do this in 2 sections. Those 2 sections would be hairline to crown, crown to nape. Alright? And to separate them sections, we want to do ear to ear. Alright? Because that's going to be in the crown. That's going to give you that center part. That's what's going to keep it balanced. Alright? Ever be afraid of the sections. Yes, ma'am. I'll turn her around again so you can see. Ear to ear. Bring back just a little bit for me. So we parted from ear to ear. it's a straight, this can be a straight part. Alright? Ear to ear. Everybody getting that? Okay? Now here comes the tricky part when it comes to the parting. Because that occipital is round, alright? Who knows what kind of parties we should be doing in the occipital area? Yes, yes, and yes. We will be doing pie-shaped partings in that occipital area because we want that, because it spreads in the bottom, we want that hair to be able to fan out right up in here. Now, once again, depending on what's happening with your client here, will determine too your parting. All right, we're doing pie here, but if she wanted it skinnier here, like going more into a tail, she wanted it thinner, then it would just be your partings. So that's when you would do 3 sections. So you would do your pie shaping in the occipital area, but then this bottom section, you could just do straight vertical parting and pull it out to meet the section in the occipital area. Everybody following me? Okay. So because she doesn't have a whole lot of length, I don't really have to do a whole lot back here. Because basically, we already got the cut when we parted it coming in that V in the back. Right? So we still, like I said, we're going to do from crown down, pie-shaped partings. What you use on this? You using our KMB?
Yeah.
What? Did y'all hear that? I like my KMB. That's good stuff. She said she used the KMB on this natural hair that's in her crown. Okay. So you can still, just for class purposes and control, I am going to still go ahead and section that off just so y'all can see. Alright? But y'all see this pie, right?
Right.
Okay. So now, again, depending on your consultation, is going to determine what we do with this pie parting back here. Does she want it fuller here and then kind of taper off just a little? Not a real taper. When I say taper, just so it's not even all the way out. Does she want that whole full hang look, which goes back more to that mullet that we were talking about? Or does she want it to be even all the way out? Okay? Either way, if we pull it straight out and cut it straight down, we can achieve what? Layers. That's going to give that layered look. If she wants more texture, when we pull it out at that 90, we still going to go in and point cut. Point cutting is always going to give us softness and texture. All right? So then if, at that point too, bringing that bottom section up to the original section and repeating the same thing. Okay? You can go in and you can point cut it out. And when it drops, she's going to have layers. Because when you pulled it out at a 90, because of the way her head is shaped, it's going to be shorter up here and longer there. Everybody following me? Mm-hmm. So when you're doing the pie-shaped partings, you're basically using a traveling guide. Okay? So that means we're continuing the parting. We're continuing those pie-shaped partings. We're using that center pie as our guide, but we're making it travel around. That makes sense? And what that does is it's actually going to give us shorter hairs on the side. So then what's going to happen with them shorter hairs? They're going to push the longer hairs, and that's going to give us all of that in the middle, all of that texture and movement in the middle. So when she shakes, when she moves, the shorter hairs are pushing it that way, pushing it that way. That's the purpose in that. And also the pie-shaped partings are going to give us that fullness right here. So once again, if she has a flat occipital though, you want to go in a little closer. You don't want to take it out. So depending on what she wants will determine your degrees. If she wants it fuller, then you remember you have your 90, 45, 180. All right? still, like I say, I love texture, so I'm gonna go in and I'm just point cut. Following my original guide, right? But when I comb it through, you can see, right? And you're just following that all the way around to that top of ear. Pie shape partings. So even if I was doing this on shorter hair, it's still the same concept. It's just at this point, it's determining how much texture and how much length you want. Okay? So if I didn't want it to be as soft, I wanted those layers to be more pronounced, I would just do a vertical cut. Just a blunt cut. Alright? And this is going to make them more pronounced. But if you want it softer, soft layers, then it's point cut. Okay? Okay, trying to see. Can y'all see? And it's pulling that hair all the way around. And you'll be able to see where you need to cut. Can y'all see that? Okay. Alright. Short hair. Push the long hairs. Alright. And then you're just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Pie shape partings. Taking that hair, bringing it around, point cutting it out. See it? Yeah, she got some gorgeous hair, and she says she is using the KMB conditioning system on her hair. That's good stuff, y'all. Y'all better check this movement.
Mo, you have a question?
Where's
Is
the
it why
question?
on the videos you see the people scared of doing this?
Yeah, because they trying to let y'all see them, the movement and the layers. So that's what I say. I check my cuts constantly when I'm working to make sure I'm achieving what I set out to achieve. So sometimes, like I said, the other stylists and clients, they think I'm showing off. Sometimes I am. But for the most part, I'm checking my cut. I'm checking my cut because I need her to be able to go home and do that and feel like it was customized just for her to be able to do that. When as stylists, y'all know, we checking the cut. I need to make sure that my name is still good.
And they can actually feel it.
Yeah.
Because when I cut my wife's hair, that's the first thing she does. She goes and I feel weight over here.
See, your wife, if she was in my chair, I'd spin her around just like this. Point her at that license and be like, girl, you better let me drive this car. All right. So when we are marrying the back to the front, okay, this is when that whole mohawk thing comes into play, and back to your consultation and knowing if they want a lot of texture in here, they want to keep their length, they want to go longer. That's going to let you determine too what kind of partings and what degrees are you going to hold that hair. But for the most part, this is your guide. You pulling it out the top of that occipital. This is where it all began. So this is where it continues. This is your guide for the front. So, okay. I'm just kind of cleaning up your cut for really. Okay. Girl, I feel like my breath is so tart. Let me know I start blowing them nose hairs. Alright, so whatever is going on back here lets you know if she wants to have a little more volume and height in the top. I'm kind of over direct my guide from here and pull it forward. Right? She says she's growing it out. She want to kind of keep her length. So that means I would do a 45 all the way through. Alright? I'm pulling it up, but instead of me taking the hair at a 45, I'm taking my fingers at a 45. And here, I always blunt cut. I never notch when I'm doing the foundation from up here. Now, I may go back in later and notch out and give it some texture, but as far as the cut itself, I'm just cutting, okay? I kind of wanted to explain to y'all before I cut because I'm finna turn and I don't know if y'all gonna be able to see. If you need to, you guys can probably come over here. But no, you know what? Let me try it this way. That might work. So this is the part too when I get the rookies in the shop, they be watching and they think I'm freehanding, but I'm still using sections. Y'all know it, I know I'm still sectioning that hair, but when they're looking at me, they think I'm freehanding. So when they try it, they're freehanding and they messing up. But I'm just kind of taking my fingers at a 45. And the reason I'm doing that is because, once again, I want her to have layers and texture within the crown, but I want her to maintain her length in the front. Okay? Pulling it forward. Okay? Same thing throughout. I always let the clients too, this portion of the cut is where I really need them to relax because they tend to get stiff-necked and I need to be able to maneuver their head without feeling like we're fighting.
Right.
This is like, boo, just relax. It's okay. Relax. Relate, release. And I don't know if you guys are paying attention too at my stance. My stance is always important. That I'm not showing off. I'm positioning myself to put my weight in a certain area so that it doesn't hurt my back. Alright? Because, like I said, 21 years in the game, and I got sciatic nerve, bad knees, and it all has to do with just being behind the chair and doing what we do for as long as we do it. So I try to be real mindful now how I stand when I'm cutting. Okay. Now, another thing too, when you are marrying this to this, it's almost comparable to when you cut, well, they got different ways of cutting bobs nowadays, but when we were originally taught how to cut a bob, it was in sections, right? 4 sections. And you have to marry the front to the back, meaning you're doing a diagonal parting and you're pulling that hair to meet the back. And that's how you get it to marry. It's the same concept, it's just at a different angle, all right? Because it's shorter. So you would steal from crown to the front, a diagonal parting. And you're going to take that hair and you're going to pull it to the back and clean up whatever you see to make sure that hair marries. Okay? Diagonal parting from the crown to the front, pull it to the back. So you can kind of see, like right up in here, where it's like that extra chunk that shouldn't be there. And you just want to take it out so the hair marries. That makes sense? All right. Then on some, at this point here too, you can decide some want a deeper angle in the front. They want a more exaggerated bang. That's really you just adding your special touch. You can pull it back and make it marry if it's real long, or you can just position your fingers for the length that you want. I don't really suggest going too deep, deeper than a cheekbone. Okay, because then that's gonna kind of throw you off back here if you're not marrying it. If she wants to go deeper than the cheekbone, then you need to marry it. Okay. All right. And the same thing on the other side. Following my guide in the back, as you can see it now, right? Okay. I know you couldn't hardly see it on the other side, but you can see it more now. Okay. Just come in. See? Be married. And another thing too, I want to give her more texture. Show y'all a couple tricks. I can go straight in this crown and I can do a couple things. Alright. We can go in the crown. Here, I will switch out to my 7-inch blade. Alright? And I'm switching out to my 7-inch blade because of the length that she has. I could do a couple different things. If I want to I just want to give her texture. You want to take that hair. I still did zigzag partings all the way around in the crown. Alright? Then I'm going to take this shear and I'm going to slither out and take out some of the weight. Alright? Or I could come in, let's go this way, less texture, and I could point cut it. But I'm using the longer shear because I want to go in deeper. If I wanted to go in not as deep, I would use a shorter shear. That makes sense? And it's still the same thing. Zigzag partings. Get a section. Go back to my 7-inch. And I'm going in and I'm pointing it out. And all that's doing is giving her more texture. Alright? So the whole key to that is going to be texture, movement. That's why y'all see us do that on the video. We're showing off. Look at the move, look at the move. But they ain't telling that part about that KMB up in there, did it? Okay, I'm silly, y'all. But for the most part, when you finish the cut, before you do any styling, you want to be able to turn that client sorry, y'all, I'm checking. One second. You want to be able to turn that client to the mirror and let them know and understand the versatility of this particular cut. So if she wants to wear basically kind of like the bowl, the cut is there, okay? It's just going to be a matter of how you mold it at that particular point. If she wants to wear it where it's all to one side, she'll be able to do that. If she wants to wear it where she's still wearing the waves and the curls, it's still there. The biggest difference now is that she's going to have a fuller and more voluminous effect up in here. Because number one, you got the textures, you got the layers. But the length is what carries that cut. The waves is just what gives it that special effect. Alright? The longer the hair in here too, gives it that fullness. And then if she do, just want to be out here like the rest of them, rocking the K cut. It's there. Mold them sides down. Alright? So we'll go over this one more time, then we're going to move on to this next cut so we can get out of here. We're doing zigzag partings. Alright? Zigzag partings. Temples to nape. Being very careful how you part around the occipital area. Okay? We're going to go on the sides. And depending on our consultation, depending on the sparsity of their edges will determine what you do at that point and what tools you use. We are still zigzag parting because zigzag parting gives us softness. Okay? If she's sparse, or even if she just wants that front to go forward, we're what? We're over directing and we're point cutting for softness. Okay? So regardless of how deep we go, she has enough hair to wave. Correct? Okay? And we're doing that particular technique to top of ear. From top of ear to right behind the ear, we're starting to over direct backwards. Okay? Remember you're stancing too. You're at an angle. Over directing, point cutting. Okay? Over directing because what? We want the short hairs to push the long hairs, and we want that hair to hug her neck. Excuse me. Hug her neck. Following the same technique on the opposite side. When we get ready to do the crown area, we are doing crown to ear, basically ear to ear. One horizontal part. From crown to occipital area, we're doing pie-shaped partings. Okay? We've had that discussion and that consultation with the client to know if there will be fullness back here. How round will it be? Are we tapering in and coming back out? Or are we pulling this all out at a 90 and giving her straight layers? Do we want soft texture layers or do we want blunt defined layers? Okay? Coming in that front, we're marrying the front to the back. That back crown, and the crown is your guide. We're following, pulling the front to the back, and we're using our fingers at that point to get our degrees. So if you guys notice too, I haven't given you definites because I want to leave it up to you to make the cut your own. I'm giving you tools and techniques to go back to the shop and make the cut your own. That makes sense? Is everybody okay? Does anybody have any questions on this particular cut? Any specific techniques before we change our models? No questions?
If her hair is naturally curly, and would you blow her hair out to do that cut? If her hair is naturally curly?
Yes. I personally would because I'm a precision cutter. And I need to see. For me, I know a lot of natural stylists do not recommend straightening the hair prior to any cutting techniques. But for me, when the hair is curly, it's deceiving. So because it's deceiving and it has that snapback, you can overcut it. But if you want to be precise, I need that hair as straight as possible so that I can see, I can be precise, and I can make that hair go where I want it to go. Okay? Any more questions? All right, let's change these models out. Did I help anybody? You guys good?
Perfect hair to work.
All right, Miss Yolanda. All right, let me give y'all this bonus so we can get on up out of here. The bonus today is just because I didn't think I was going to be able to give you that, guys, that information on a live model. Okay? Miss Yolanda here was supposed to get that cut. But after our consultation, we said we'd do something different. So basically what I'm giving you guys today is a pixie. And we're just going to cut through it. I wish y'all could have felt her hair prior to her relaxer. And after her relaxer service, I went in and gave her the KMB conditioning treatment. Okay. After her relaxer, when that cuticle was wide open, I towel blocked that hair. Well, I had my buddy right here do it, but we towel blocked that hair and took out all the excess water. About 2 pumps. Took it through her hair, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then rinsed it out. Let me go through and let them kind of feel your hair. She had a lot of damage. It was excessively dry. Oh, you should, sure, I'm sorry. I'm going to pass that around so you guys can grab it.
Which relaxer did you use?
I actually used the Naked Patrick Bradley. Okay? And I used that particular relaxer because in our consultation, Miss Yolanda explained to me that she had been relaxing and bleaching her hair. So she had, like I said, a lot of damage, and the fact that it was bleached, you know, the Patrick Bradley product, that particular line is for color treated hair. That's why I chose it.
And guys, we do carry that entire system with the Patrick Bradley.
But I really just needed y'all to feel the result of that conditioning treatment on this hair because I'm impressed. So, we relaxed her and gave her a basic mold. How many of y'all cut a lot of pixies? True pixies, not just short hair. To me, a true pixie means you ain't got no bang. It's literally pixie. Oh, okay, yeah. Right, they be calling everything a pixie. They come in with the exaggerated bang. Tell me, girl, I want a pixie. That is not a pixie. Be careful of your language, because I will give you what you're asking me for.
Let me see your pixie first.
Right, especially when they come in and be like, can I get a perm? I can give you a perm all day long, but I don't do perms. You want to relax? It's so funny. I got my clients so messed up. They be in conversations, but I need a relaxer. All right. So this, I'm going to just kind of eye. All right. Sit. Miss Yolanda, let me ask you, how do you want to wear this back? You want clean lines? You want fringe? You want fringe. Okay, let me say something about this fringe that everybody likes. It's so funny to me. Alright? Because of the pictures on Instagram, everybody wants the fringe. And it's cute. It's hot. It's definitely an eye catcher. But I want to say the next visit, the next week when they come in, they be like, you know what, can you get this off my neck? The main reason being because they like, it won't lay down. Why won't it lay down? Because it's in the bend of your neck. As long as you talking and moving, the hair is never going to lay down. But it's cute though. But don't be calling me talking about take it off. No, I'm just, not for real. So, even on this, I kind of attack my frame first before I go into the cut. So I am a big fan of softness around the face. Alright? So in case y'all haven't noticed too, I'm a big fan of point cut. So I like it to be soft, and once again, we discussed earlier about being able to give someone sideburns when they don't have it. Okay? Even coming up and around the ear. So we ain't even did nothing, and she got a whole new look already, right? Already. Alright. Now, the other thing about Miss Yolanda, she has a little bit of sparsity in her temples. Okay, not a lot, but just a little, enough to where she wants to keep them covered. Okay. Yet again, just kind of giving her a frame. All right. Now, if I was in the shop, forget it, we in the shop. How this would go down would be a little like that.
You in the shop, do you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna take this hair out. I want it a little close at the bottom, but not too close. I'm really just trying to take all of this weight out of here. All right, I can only go so far. Let me see. Yeah, put the chip back. Yeah, do that. Okay. Alright. So whenever I'm doing clipper over comb too, I always take my clippers down to 0. Remember we said 0 is as close as you can get. It applies to everything. Fingers, shears, clippers. So because I know she wants the fringe here, I'm not going to really take her at a 0. I'm actually going to pull her out at a 45 so I can keep my length down at the bottom. Alright? But I'm going in and I'm just chopping that hair out. Alright, but y'all see the difference? Okay, so she still has plenty of hair for me to go in and cut with the shears, razor, whatever I want to do, but we took all that weight up out of there. Makes it quicker and easier. And at this point too, yeah, I'm just kind of eyeing it. I'm like, I do so many pixies in a day. I could do it with my eyes closed. So basically, just paying attention to your angles. One big thing that I need you guys to notice too is the way her occipital falls. It's kind of flat, all right? But then she has this, like a dent right here. That's the crease in her, between her occipital and her neck. And so you really have to be careful, especially when you're clipper cutting, because if you go in too fast, too deep, you're going to take it all out, and then she's going to have a hole right in there. This is a tender area. Like if we were fading her, that's when your barber comb really comes into play. So you know the barber comb is big at one end and then skinny at the other end. But it's the same concept too. The skinny end is your 0, and as you go up, 0, 45, 90, 180. Okay? Close, far out. Weight, clean, you know, it all marries. Alright? But you always want to be mindful of that. And because her occipital is kind of flat, we want to make sure she has plenty of hair here so it doesn't look flat when she's styled. Alright? So even on the sides, I could still take that hair out, cut it out, get it gone. Alright? Nervous, Miss Yolanda? Ooh, that's trust right there, baby. Alright? So basically, I'm cutting down time. I'm cutting out all the hair that I could just beat. I don't even need it there to accomplish the cut because we're going short. The other thing is, too, I know the length that we're going because of the consultation that we had. That I actually went in prior to everything. I checked her length and her crown to know what I was going to do, to have my blueprint before I even got started. you the actual cut. I still, to me, like I said, still the same concept. We want this to go forward, so I'm still gonna zigzag part her. Because I know I'm gonna take them sides in kind of close, I'm not gonna point cut this. I'm gonna actually come back in with the razor a little later and give her the texture that I want, and it's gonna give that same effect of me point cutting her. But I know I want to take a lot out. I'm moving fast, so I'm cutting at a vertical, and I'm really just getting rid of the length, cleaning it up. All right. And even still, that whole concept too, she want the fringe in the back. It's the same thing. Over directing. Back here, I can do some point cut because I want this to hug and push her forward. Okay? And I'm gonna follow that all the way around in this back here. Everybody okay? Got anything funny? Church say amen. I see y'all fanning.
Yeah, I got a hot flash situation going on.
Okay. Once again, same thing on the opposite side. I could cut her from either, if I was point cutting, I would probably cut her from behind, but I don't have to. I can just come in, take it all out. Zigzag part. Take it up, and I could point cut it or not. Alright?
Do you always do a zigzag part on the sides?
I personally do, just because I like that whole look when the front is coming forward. Like, I like textured, soft frames of the face. But if I was going in and out, because I have some clients that just want clean lines. If I'm doing clean lines, then no, I'm going to blunt cut it, and then I'm going to go back in with my clippers, and I might round it out or something. So it just depends. But if they let me loose, 9 times out of 10, I am going to zigzag point. Okay? And then, even still, just going back through, following all my lines, following the shape of her head, cleaning this cut up, because it don't get good till all the hair is gone. Right? That's when you start really tripping out. Looking for all that excess hair and balancing it. That's all I'm really doing now, is balancing it and making it even. Because one of the keys to a good pixie is that it's even. It's almost even all over. So, finding my pieces, because you don't want that whole bold look. I'm gonna give y'all a couple special nuggets in a minute though. Once I get all the weight out. Cause she got real thick hair too. Alright. And even for me, same concept as the Kelly cut that we just did. I'm gonna take my back and marry it to the front.
You gotta get the right angle.
Right. I need you to know how.
I know.
Okay, alright, okay, there we go.
We good. You do you.
Pulling it up. So, like I said, she had a lot of damage right up in here. But y'all can see it now, right?
Yes.
See all of that? So it got real thin and real jagged right here in her front. So that's how I knew that was my focal point. Yeah, see that?
Yes.
And that's what made me know off the bat what the length was going to be. Also knowing too how much breakage she had in the front. But that could also be a good thing when you're doing a pixie, because if she decides she want a little bit of lift here, she just a little bit right here to do something fancy, the short hairs push the longer hairs. So her damage is giving me a little special effect. If I decided when I mold her, I want to give her them special effect, the little swirls and twirls, because she's short here, I could do it. All I did was put my extra spin on her cut. Okay? So sometimes you have to look at it that way as opposed to, oh man, look at all the damage. Make it your own, ladies. We are artists.
Right.
Okay? I still do the same thing. Marry it out. Alright. Same thing. Marrying it out. Following my guide. Like I said, when I get people in the shop watching me, they don't think I use a guide, because to them I look all over the place. But because we just went over that other cut, and because y'all cut, y'all know I'm following guides all over the place because you see them, right? So that's why I was telling them too, and they be like, girl, I was watching YouTube. You'll never be able to follow what I'm doing over YouTube if I don't tell you. Okay. So, that's like the foundation of her cut. It's in there, right?
Yep.
Alright. This when the fun comes. I take this razor, and because her hair is so dense, because it's so thick, I want to take all that weight out because I want it to lay nice and smooth. But instead of me going in and taking it all out with the clippers, that's when I'm going to come in with this razor. Alright? And, like I said, be mindful when you guys are using these razors. Me personally, the ones, most of the feather razors, when you buy the blades, they come with guards on them. But you can still cut too much hair if you don't have it angled properly. So remember I said you don't want to just go straight in and cut down. You want to angle. You want to angle that razor and just softly rake it out. Y'all see that difference already? How flat it's already laying? How much weight we took out just with that little bit right there? So when she molded, it's going to go exactly where we want it to go. If I felt like it was any kind of lines or demarcation, I'm going there and just slide straight through it.
Do you have a guard on that razor?
Yeah, all the blades come with the guard on it.
Yeah.
Now since I've been in Atlanta, I have seen some people just take the razor straight out the box and be cutting, and I just be like, you went to whose beauty school?
If you were to cut too much hair off, what would you do with that razor?
If I was to cut too much hair off, it would depend on who it is. I've gotten me a couple times, and cause I be in a hurry, and I've gotten a couple hoes, and because I wear my hair dark, I dye it. I just put some black on it, and it'll fill in. You laugh because all right. Then by next week, the hole is filled in, and don't nobody know.
They got so many tricks now.
Right. Right.
Control, color, everything.
I sure will. I done done it a few times. Be in a hurry. And what's really crazy is always when you got somewhere to go. I cut too much, cut a hole. Cause I'm good for it right here. I sure will. And I'll be like, oh, now I gotta color it. But on a client, if I hit an area and I've cut in too deep, it just means the rest of it gotta go closer. Cause I need it to blend. But I can't honestly say if I've done it. It's been a long time, but I haven't went in and like jacked nobody. And then with this too, it's if you got a fresh relaxer too, it's really kind of hard to tell because you're not curling it, so it's not lifting. That makes sense. But I have had, cause I'll get people that come in from other cities to see me, but I always make sure to let them know when you go back to your stylist at home, make sure you let them know you were cut with a razor, you were texturized, because they'll go in and be like, what's this? It's Jane, look at her cut. I know, boy, I did that on purpose. I knew what I was doing when I did it. Squeeze me.
Did you say squeeze me?
I did. Squeeze me.
That's too funny.
So even back here, I could put a guard on my clippers and take this weight out right here. But for me, like I said, I love my razor, number one. But number two, because we have this dent in the middle, I want to be real careful taking my weight out of it. And like I said, you got to be careful because y'all see, I'm taking a lot of hair out, right?
Right.
But y'all see that though, right?
Yeah, you can
See
do
how
that.
smooth it is?
It's cute because her
How we
hair is so
tapered
thick.
her out? Yeah, because her hair was real, real thick. So, on top of that, what else I would do? Her front, to give her like that wispier look in the front. There's a couple different things we can do. So I could go in at an angle and I can cut it out. Alright. Or I can come in with that razor. Soften it up. Alright? And that just gives you that kind of wispy look in the front. So then when you mold it though, you can make it do whatever you want it to do. If you feel like you want to swirl it, or if you just want to define it. Also, when you're doing things like defining, your products are important. So big thing too, when I make this cut here, and I talk to my clients, yo, if I find out you using gel or spritz, we got a problem, all right? So edge controls, wax sticks. I know we all talk about retail. The wax stick and the wax stick and the oil moisture, two biggest retail sellers in my spot. If I don't sell nothing else, they walking out of there with that. And my biggest thing with that, that's the Caris wax stick, I know they have it here, is the fact that it doesn't get hard. It doesn't get flaky. If she puts that on, them sizes is gonna lay. And it's an easy application because it's in a stick, so the clients love it. By the time she gets up in the morning, she can still come through it. It's unless she overdoing it, then it's caked up, and y'all know that's a whole nother situation. But even if she wanted to do some special things in the front, she can use it. So I always want to make sure they know what to use at home. All right? Giving her a little more texture in that top. I'm going to go to these 575s because her hair is shorter. And lean all the way down, relax. Okay. I'm gonna go in. Hold on, let me check this cut real quick. Right there. I think y'all see too, Pixie is one of the fastest cuts. When you know your tools and techniques. It didn't take me no time to do this cut, right? If you spending more time than that on a Pixie, you might need a little more practice. Because the biggest thing is getting that weight out of there. Alright? So then I have to go back in that crown. Give us some texture. I'm gonna do back to that point cut.
She can wear it just like that.
That's the point. Okay. One other thing I want to show y'all before the thinner shears. I know I talked about them earlier. Thinner shears, texturizing shears. I could also, if we wanted to keep more length on the side, I could go in because especially because she's so thick, and hit her with my texturizing shears and get a little more weight all around the perimeter of this cut. So too, when she want that extra definition, when she running her fingers through it, she'll have it. Because they'll come in and on the Pixie say, can I get some layers? Okay, no, that was not layers, it's texture. But it's just another trick. Going all the way through. Taking that weight line out.
So that helps you get a better blend.
It sure do. It just softens it. Softens it all the way around. And then, like I said, it makes it easier for them when they're styling at home. Because I always try to promote to my clients too, if you got short hair and you trying to curl it, I have failed you somewhere. Because you shouldn't be. Short hair should be get up and go. If you feeling funky and you can't get to me, say you got an event and I'm booked and you feel like, you know what, today I want to flip it, I'll allow you to have a little hot iron action. But other than that, you should be just running your fingers through it and going once you leave the shop. Because I'm going to put the heat to it and I'll cut it so the hair can go in whatever direction I tell it to go in. So after that, it's just your mold. You dig what I'm saying? Am I coming off to y'all?
Yeah.
It's the cut. Your cut is your foundation, period. Just like the cake pan. You want the round cake, you put it in the round cake pan. It's going to be round every time. You put it in a square, and then you got to cut the round. You done lost half the cake trying to get the circle perfect. Right? Your cut is your foundation. And if it's cut perfectly, as it grows out and they want to change hairstyles, it should be nothing for you because you cut it right the first time. Alright? So, I'm going to go ahead and run a little heat through it. Y'all got any questions for me? Anybody?
How do they make their hair shine like glass? What product?
What do I use? Oh, great question.
Everybody familiar with this? Everybody familiar with this?
I love that stuff.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with it, baby. My biggest seller. I gotta get some before I get out of here. It's running low on my retail rack. The wax stick, the Care wax stick.
Retail for 21. So you pay 10.50, retail for 21. This is the oil moisturizer that she swears by.
Man, I'm mad I don't have none over here right now. But let me tell you why though. And I know I'm past my time. Y'all want to get out of here.
What about the oil moisturizer?
The oil moisturizer, okay, to me it's comparable to lotion. When I explain it to my clients, I talk in terms of you got baby oil and you got lotion. When we get out the shower, first thing we're gonna do is moisturize. Pores is open, it receives that lotion, and your skin is nice and soft and pliable. The baby oil, even if you go back in with it, all it does is seal the moisture and give you shine. moisturizers, whether they be like, this is a great one too, but the KMB almond essence, look, I can't see y'all, I'm telling my age.
That's all right.
But this to me is in comparison to like a body cream. It's still a moisturizer, however, it's lighter. But when I use the Caricare, it's more like a lotion. It has the consistency of a lotion. And its main purpose is to help get that pH balance back where it needs to be. So as soon as you touch it, it's nice and soft and pliable, but it has that moisture. You understand what I'm saying? And from there, the rest of I'm very, very, very light-handed with my products. Darlene to tell you, when she was selling me products, you don't need, no. Because I'm light-handed, because our stuff is concentrated. And a little bit goes a long way. And a lot of times, whatever we're using, once you put that heat to it, that's what's going to give you that pop. But it's also marrying the right products together. Makes all the difference in the world. All right? What were you asking?
When would you use the moisturizer on her?
I use the moisturizer like right from the dryer.
Okay.
Okay? Because we know that the water and the shampoos change your pH.
It's
Then
got that
when you
whole
sit down,
oil in it.
Mhm.
That whole oil, that's what's running.
But and so when they come from up out of the dryer, and I comb it out, about the size of a green pea, I'm emulsify it in my hands real good, and distribute it evenly through that hair. And I always let them feel it too. It's instant moisture. All right. And so that too, the wax stick and the oil moisturizer, my two biggest sellers. I don't sell nothing else. Okay, and then the head wraps. These right here. But those are the things that I can't keep on my shelf. Because they do listen, they talk to me, and I just be talking like I'm talking to y'all. The next thing they know, can I get? You sure can, sweetie. You sure can. So we're gonna use the KMB on her today.
Instead of the stick and the oil moisturizer, you're gonna use that. Normally you would use what you just said, right? Okay.
And I use both too. I use the KMB as well. It just depends on what I'm doing.
You don't cross them though.
No, I do not. Because I'm a firm believer, if I'm using a line, I like to use the entire line because they were made to complement each other. Yeah. But see, I just put a little bit of, you see the shine that she got already?
Yeah, but what was that one? The edge or what?
No, this is not edge control. This is the shine cream, the KMB shine cream. Let me pass this around so you guys can feel it. And like I said, when I'm explaining it to the clients, I explain it comparable to like a body cream. Okay, it has that consistency and it serves that purpose. So from Bar, what else I got over here?
Can I ask a question?
You sure can.
How you feel about coconut oil and
I think it's
olive
garbage.
oil?
Garbage. I hate when they put grocery in their hair.
Yeah, one.
Irritates my soul, and it's so hard to remove. Man, as soon as they come in and I can smell the coconut oil, I be mad like, yo, it's gonna be so hard. This is another, this glitch shining hole. Before I started using this, I was like, I don't do spritz. Too much alcohol. I don't do spritz. However,
What's it called?
this is the KMB glitz and hole. Glitz
glitz.
shine and hold.
Shining hole.
Glitz, shine, and hold. So, I'm always spray it over
On a press, on a natural.
on the natural press. I'm gonna always go with an aerosol.
You can do that.
You tried to
and
trick
still
me.
have movement.
She tried to set me up. I ain't doing it.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, I repeat what she said.
All right, I was like, you
Oh,
know,
no.
doggone well.
Oh, I know not to use it, but she said you do it.
I was like, you know, doggone well. I'm not putting that on
With
no
the
press.
KMB.
It was probably texture of hair though.
That's like whenever I did the gray hair and I follow up because that was
With the
part of
glitz and
the
shine?
glitz and shine.
There's
like
no
after
alcohol.
the
There's
fact.
no alcohol in it.
You know what? It might be just a tad bit. I'm not quite sure, but you still have movement. It didn't hold the hair down.
Yeah, it doesn't give you a sticky feel. It doesn't give you it's a very soft hold. But and because it has the shine in it too, once I put that heat to it, it's gonna give it even more of a pop. So it doesn't come off like a spritz.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
That's why I say you can use it on your presses.
I
And
doubt it on,
use it
on
on
baby
press.
fine hair, I bet you can't. I got that cotton hair.
Oh, dang.
That's why I
don't
say
know
I
if you
bet it
paying attention
depends.
to
how
this
heavy
plastic.
your hands.
Yeah, your texture.
It
And,
does.
and people with that great
Y'all
puffy
done say
hair.
something.
What?
Dang. Don't come over here, darling.
What did you say, Renee? About, glitz,
Oh, this splits.
glitz. What did you say about it?
Did you want to see this?
You made a comment.
Did you want to see this?
Yeah, it doesn't come off like a spritz. I use it on a press because it's like a dryer. I don't know, it doesn't spray out like a regular spritz, but it does have a dryer feel.
Yeah, I personally haven't done it just because,
You don't do that many.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, well.
But I don't feel like, but I'm like you, it doesn't come off like a spritz. It doesn't have that whole sticky alcohol feel to it. It's real soft. So basically, I'm just kind of going through and bumping her. Just kind of reinforcing the cut. And making my products pop. So, and then y'all saw all I used on her was the KMB Cream Shine and this glitz and her and then did you pass it around? The glitz shine, oh, okay.
A couple.
The glitz shine hose. Now that one is mine too, so you make sure you get back over here.
How much is that whole system?
The glitz, the cream press, and what else were you interested in? The whole canvas?
Yeah, let me get you a total.
So y'all even see with that heat, she just popped. Real natural shine.
And her hair looks like it's just totally natural, like she just, yeah, like it's.
Yeah, and when I get I'm gonna let y'all, if y'all still here, I'll let, y'all can touch it and see. Yeah, that's spritz.
And she was like she
The
comes
hold,
to
rather.
every week, right, already?
I'm sorry?
I said, she looks like she comes to the salon every week already. You know, that's a good thing, cause
Yeah, very
when
good.
you're dealing with damaged hair, sometimes you be fighting. Wow. You don't have the right product.
Your products mean everything. Products, and that's why I don't understand the stylist that doesn't invest
Right.
in her business. This is your brand. This is your name all day long. So you definitely want to use quality products. Not only that, the better the products, the higher your ticket. Did y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah.
The better your products, the higher your ticket. Baby girl, I'm not using Suave on you, so you don't get to pay me Suave prices. It's true. We're not even finna have that conversation. What are you saying to me right now?
If they saw her hair before, they really would know.
Oh yeah, I forgot you
Jared.
at the very beginning. Yeah.
Jared?
Ah,
That's why I'm calling.
Gerard.
Gerard.
you calling him?
Yeah.
He coming.
Gerard.
Show them the pictures
Oh,
of the before.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you pass it around?
Yeah.
She's a stylist.
So basically, too, we just wanted to get her back to health. Kind of start her over, give her another shot.
He took pictures
What's your
before.
model's
It
name
was real
again?
damaged.
Yolanda.
Yolanda, do you feel the difference in your hair with the KMB?
She's a stylist.
Y'all don't have any more questions for me? Come on, y'all, kill this dead space up in here.
Can we talk about,
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
let's talk
What's your
about
name,
money.
baby?
Can we talk about some money?
Sure, we can talk about all the money you want to talk about. I'm about getting the
That's
money
the
now.
problem I think in the industry is, I've been in it for 26 years, and we're charging the same price.
No, we ain't.
Some
That's
of
your
us
fault.
are. And I
You should be
listen-
getting a raise every year. If you're not comfortable with that, then make it too. But you are responsible for that. You set the tone at the end of the day. And once again, knowing your market, knowing who you want to service, and customizing your business to reflect that. Okay? I was with some stylists yesterday and we were talking about that. We were talking about pricing services and demographics and things of that nature. One thing, I don't know if you were here earlier, I'm actually from Chicago, okay? And in Chicago, a lot of the women there, they get service where they shop where they live. Atlanta is different. Since I've been here, what I learned is these women will travel. They will go. And they will spread it out all over the place. So I work in Midtown. I work in Midtown because it's central. Because my clients come from so many different directions, that's why I'm in Midtown. Not because I figured I could get more money, but because of the location. I'm right off of 75. So it's no problem getting to me. You understand? But I listen to the women. They may come to, I have some that are in Douglasville, Conyers, they everywhere. And what they'll say, they come into the city for me, then they may go someplace else and get their lashes done, someplace else and get them shoot. They all over the place. But you have to know what you're marketing. What I know, what has 21 years in the business, and what I know is my market is corporate America. That is 95% of my clientele. I do not do children. I don't do the it girl. I don't have no strippers. I don't do a lot of weed. You gotta know your market. And not only that, they feed off of our look. Okay? That's another thing. 90% of my clients look just like me. You dig what I'm saying? And so because of that, you gotta kind of understand your client and your market at that particular time. Who you're targeting. So back to earlier when you mentioned your social media. So when you're posting your pictures, the first thing I'm gonna say to y'all is this. I used to work at one of the most popular salons in Atlanta. And one of the things, if she didn't teach me nothing else, it was get the client out the chair when you're taking them pictures. It makes all the difference. Okay? You see some of them pictures online and they look like they may have been done by a photographer. But what you need to think about before you post that picture is you are selling something. So it needs to be at your best. Get them angles. You see everybody using a ring light. I'm not really a fan of the ring light. I'd much rather have natural light. Even though here lately I done got lazy, so they is sitting in the chair. Don't judge me. Just do as I say, not what I do. But when you're taking them outside and that natural light is hitting that hair, it's giving them a whole nother look. Okay? Because when these people is hitting Instagram, they scrutinizing every inch of our work because there's so much of it out there. The better the pictures. But if you talk to the clients too, some of these stylists got great pictures, but in real life, their work is garbage.
Right.
Know what you're selling. Know who you marketing to. It makes the difference. We talked earlier too, them hashtags. They mean something. So if you know you are looking for college students, all of your hashtags should say something referencing college students. Whether you name off all the colleges in your area, ladies, soror, whatever. So that's how you do that. And you have to make sure that you're checking the reports. Make your Instagram page a business page. Check out them reports. Know who's watching your page. Know what time they watching it. So if I know that my clientele is corporate, I know that they either hitting me, before they get to work, while they sitting in traffic, they ain't got no business on their phone, but they sitting in traffic and they hitting Instagram on their lunch break and when it's time to go home. So you need to know the peak times of your audience. Then you post, and then you have to be consistent. So good pictures.
Excuse me, I just wanted to see the rack.
You good, baby? Good. She ain't got those. I ordered those. Nah, not that side. Sorry. But good pictures, consistency, knowing your target market. you should have a price increase every year. For me, come December, everybody else is trying to figure out what they doing for New Year's. I'm doing books. I'm sitting down, I'm going over my numbers for the year. I'm thinking about where I want to be for the following year. What could I do to make my numbers better? At midnight, you know what happened? I hit that enter button on Style Seat and all my prices go up. So I'm not gonna discuss it with no client either. What's gonna happen is I know my worth. I know how much I paid to learn what I learned. So if what you want is a service from me, you need to understand your budget. You dig what I'm saying? So at that point, it's like, hey, getting your hair done is not a need, it's a want. They don't negotiate price with nobody but us. And I ain't doing it. They get their nails done. They don't even speak English. But they gonna pay everything that's there. Man, and the biggest thing too, like I said, it's gonna be how you present yourself as a brand and what you're willing to accept as a business. I'm a business. I have business hours. I have business products. This is a business. I do not tell people I do hair. I hate that. Because we don't do hair, ladies and gentlemen. We run businesses. You are a business owner and you need to be represented and respected as such. Period. Period. So me and you, we need to talk.
Amen.
Because there ain't no reason in the world you should be mad about price. Now, it depends on how I'm feeling.
There you go.
And that's just being as transparent as I can possibly be. I will, what I'll do is I'll check my counterparts, my competitors, and see what they're charging. So in my area, I know several, just to give an example, I know several stylists in my area, they charge $50 for a consultation. So when I talk to people, I make sure I let them know my consultations are free. Come on in and talk to me. That's the first thing. And then I know once I get them in the chair, I got them because my mouthpiece is ridiculous. I'm selling you everything. You understand what I'm saying? Once again, knowing your market. But I try to make sure I research my area. And because I don't want to be more than everybody, but I don't want to be beneath everybody. Right. So even if I go into various services and I may only do an increase over here in this area instead of the whole entire menu, I'm gonna get a raise. Because like I said, 21 years in the game, yo, I don't need to do 20 heads a day. I don't want to do 20 heads a day. You want to work smarter, not harder. So I'm gonna take that 8 on a Saturday, and I'm still gonna have $1,000 a day. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I got time to baby you. I got time to get up in your ears. So you just walk out of here with $100 worth of product, and your service was $175 easy, and you got short hair. So I almost took $300 off, and then when I get through being in her ear, she gonna tip me. Trust and believe. At least $20. So I just gave $300 off one head, and I ain't doing no sewing. Y'all better hear me. And every time I take a class, I'm worth more money. Every time I hit a hair show, my clients know about it. Because the more they feel like you are passionate about what you're doing, the more they feel like, dang, she always at a class. She knows some stuff. But every certification, I go, cha-ching.
I'm sorry. Can you just go back one more time what you just said?
Which part?
Just a little bit. Just back to, did I hear 300?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go back right there.
I will. I can pull off one client $300. I wish I could pull it up for Saturday. I sure got one, the last one. I talked her to death. Before I got through with her, and she was like, and what did she get? She booked for a partial sew-in, okay, which was just, she wanted to get some tracks on in at the top. Just for me to even start that for you, that's kicking off at $180. Just for me to put maybe 1 or 2 tracks in the top of your head. All right? I didn't feel like doing it. I'm being transparent with y'all right now. I'm about to tell it too much. I really was. She was my last client on a Saturday, and I promise you, I didn't feel like doing it. I even have it posted that I don't do weave on Saturday. But it was like, okay, let me try to talk to her. But when I got through with her, all we did was, what did I do to her? I did a relaxer and a cut and retail, and I made $275 off that one. And she was like, girl, make sure I book my appointment. That was Friday. That was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was Friday when you came. She was another one. What you need, Mom?
The KMB.
Oh, the
The
KMB.
oil cream.
The cream, okay.
That's what she's asking about.
Okay.
But when you get clients that really, really trust you,
Oh, that's the
and that whole trust thing has a lot to do with your confidence. We can sell them anything and everything because they trust us at that point.
Well, you know, I'm from New Jersey, and way back in the day, I started in the early 80s, like 86 is when I went to school. But I used to work for Jane Caris Solutions, and we used to do all of what you're saying. You know, like I used to see that.
So, but why did you stop?
You know what happened? When I got to Georgia, I got burned. I just got burned. They stole my scissors, and you know, they hid my keys. I mean, I got burned. Okay, I just had to go somewhere and sit down. I was in the ghetto, honey.
And we say that though, and I said that in the beginning when I was, it was only a few people here and we were talking. I've worked in several cities, and Georgia has been the hardest city for me to get up and established in. I've never been judged and tried as much as I have been in the city. However, once you get it though, they can't take it away.
Right, that's true. You're right.
Once you get that respect,
it let me go into another business or open up a moving company. How about that? But it was just hard at first. But now that I'm in another place,
okay.
Yeah.
So right now, this is the guava mist. This is like a gloss and a shine. It smells really good too. So it's my finishing touch, and I'm just taking it through to give her that extra pop as I'm kind of just running my fingers through the cut. Me personally, because it's so concentrated, I like to just kind of spray it in my hands. I do a lot of my products like that because I like to use my products sparingly. And when you do this, you warming it up, it spreads it out, and I just kind of taking it through. Y'all see that shine?
And that's the same system?
Yes, ma'am. That's that KMB.
Excellent.
So, ladies, Monika has done an excellent job. I am just, I hope that you all are as pleased with what she's done as I am.
I'm losing my voice, man.
So I did want to make sure that you all know we're going to be having classes like just about every week. This was one of the first kicking off the new year. Next week we're going to have the KMB class. It's actually going to be at the Silver Road location. So you guys can come in and we'll have a educator who's going to take you through that whole system for those of you who've not been in a class.
Is it 11 o'clock?
Yes, it starts at 11. I think I have a flyer here too that you can take with you. Then the following Monday we're going to have a color class.
Just so y'all can know, on your email, you don't put the times on it.
Okay.
Okay.
We need to catch that.
Yeah, I responded to let y'all know.
Okay, we'll take care of that. We have had a few little errors with getting some communication out, but let me pass these out to you guys. Just take mine and pass.
And I'm gonna send Miss Yolanda around so y'all can kind of see her up close and feel her hair.
You already have one? Yeah. I already have one. Okay. So I do want to make sure that y'all understand what the deals that we have for you today. We've got some great deals. For those of you who are interested in the styling package from the KMB, that's going to be the blow, the edge control, and the guava mist in a larger size. That deal is $30. Keeping in mind, when you make a purchase today, you're going to get your $10 back that you paid to come to the class, right? But also for the KMB amino acid system, that deal is only $100. If you wanted to throw in the cream shine and the glitz, you're looking at $116 total. That has already subtracted your $10. Okay? So we've got Gerard over here, Miss Peggy, myself. We can help any of you guys to go ahead and make a purchase today. And I don't know if most of you ladies use, can I have your attention please? Y'all know not to be talking over me when when I'm selling, come on. Okay, but how many of you guys use the Nutris foam? Did everybody use the Nutris foam? This is an amazing foam. You didn't like it?
That's all right. I'm with her, I was Nairobi.
It's really an amazing foam. It is so much better than Nairobi. If y'all would just give it a chance, I promise you. I mean, okay, everybody knows Nairobi. I've used Nairobi.
I like that. I do like it.
You know what, like they were saying on
Yeah, I was gonna say I use both.
I use both. On really soft hair,
Uh-huh.
I do like the, like on my hair, the Nairobi, my hair just starts like, you know, that too soft cotton. So I do like Nairobi on coarser, drier hair.
Might be different.
But then what I'll do with the, if I just have the Nutress, I'll have a little bit more water to dilute it, or like, you know, extra leave-in conditioner, just to give it, because that has a little more hold.
Oh.
It does. It has hold.
Yeah,
It
but
has
it's great
shine.
on fine hair and
Yeah.
softer hair. The hold is.
And you get both of these for $20
Today.
today. $20 plus keep minus your, yes ma'am. But hopefully you're gonna spend more.
I already got the whole system.
You know, so, and then of course the entire KMB system, guys. So if you need help with writing up your orders or helping you to make your choices, we're here to help you and assist you.
I love it.
Thank you all so much for coming. We look forward to seeing you the rest of the month as well. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Ladies, I'm gonna go out to the car and get some more cards for those of you who have asked. But one more thing, just to piggyback off of her, I don't want it to be a misunderstanding. I do use both. It just depends on the hair textures that
Like
that
she
I'm
pointed out.
Yeah.
And I love the KMB product, the whole line.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Really quickly, my name is Charles. I'm with Caris Salon Services. One of the things that we really want you all to do, we want to make sure that you all are providing us with correct information. One of the things that happens is that we actually receive phone calls from clients looking for stylists that actually provide this service. When we have bad numbers, bad addresses, and can't reach you, we've got no place to send them. We look bad. You've purchased the product, you do the system, we can't send them to you. So please make sure that you take the time, make sure the information is correct. One of the other services that we provide for our website, we actually will feature you on the site as a location where a person can find you. If you tell your store manager or your sales rep that you have a home shop, we will only feature your name, your city, your zip, and your phone number so they can call you. But if you have a salon, if you have a studio, we will list that information on the site. Please make sure that information is correct. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed.